Welcome to the Lovestead.
Hello, welcome back to Lady Lovestead Reads. My name is Jessica. Welcome to the weekly vlog. It is January 1st, Sunday, January 1st, so Happy New Year, everyone. We're starting the weekly vlog today. With it being the first week of the month, I will be reading all of my book club and buddy read picks this week so that I can get required reading done and out of the way, and then mood read the rest of the month. So right now I'm reading Horrid by Katrina Lino. I do need to get through this fairly quickly for the live show. This is the Full Moon Book Club pick for December 2022. The book club is hosted by janagaton. And the live show is always on the full moon, so it'll be sometime this week in January. So I definitely need to get on this really fast and read it and get through it. So this is about Jane North Robinson, who is a young girl whose father dies of a heart attack, and now she and her mother are moving across the country from California to Maine, and that's where I'm at. So apparently there's going to be some intense weird things that happen when they get to their new house in Maine, and I'm here for it. Already there's like some like really strange and twisted vibes to it. Like Jane eats books, so I don't know if that's supposed to be like a supernatural thing or if it's pica, the eating disorder. But like she tears pages out of books and she eats them. She eats like a page a night of books, and it's supposedly like it just helps her feel better about life and helps her relieve like some anxiety and depression, which to me speaks more to pica than it does to something supernatural, but we will see if that goes anywhere as the story progresses. I'm reading a couple of other books that are unrelated to book clubs. So I have been working on the Keeper of the Lost Cities series, trying to get through a couple more installments of that series. So I'm reading Neverseen, and this series is by Shannon Messenger. Neverseen is the fourth book in the series, and it's about 700 pages long. One of my goals for 2023 is to stop being intimidated by big books and read more big books. And I think the best way for me to do that is to read a big book while I'm reading other things. So I read a little bit of the big book every day, and then I get through the smaller books a little faster. Because like the reason I don't like big books is it takes me so much longer to read one book when I could be reading like four other books. So I get that anxiety about like I could be reading so much more, yada yada yada. But then I miss out on some really awesome books because there's a lot of wonderful books that are quite long. So this is my big book for the time being. And then on audiobook, I'm reading Front Desk by Kelly Yang. I haven't started it yet. I just have it checked out. And that is a middle grade contemporary about a family who I think runs a hotel. I'm not 100% sure on it. I've just heard really wonderful things about this book, and it was available at my library, so I checked it out. So those are my current reads. What else can I share with you? What other updates can I share with you? My holiday season was fine. It was pretty quiet. I've been doing a lot of pet sitting through the holiday break. Tomorrow will be my last day of pet sitting for this round of like holidays. And as much as I have loved and adored taking care of all these critters, I will enjoy getting a break from it to have more time for other things. And then I'll probably have more pet sitting with the next round of holidays coming up. So been doing that, working on some freelance projects. Classes for my full-time job start on the 4th. So this week. What else? What else is relevant to BookTube? Oh, I have been rewatching one of my favorite TV shows. And I bring this up because so many folks here in the community love it, and it's Charmed. So I've been rewatching Charmed. I'm on the 5th season. Having a great time with my rewatch. Are you a Charmed fan? Let me know down below. Because like I love this show, but believe it or not, I've only seen it all the way through once. Otherwise, I've just caught episodes here and there. So this is my second full rewatch of the show, and like I have so many thoughts as I'm rewatching it. So if you are a Charmed fan, let me know down below. All of my socials are listed below. Feel free to like message me so we can talk about the show, because like I don't want to give any spoilers or anything away for folks who maybe haven't seen it or who aren't fans. So I won't spend a lot of time here talking about it, but I just have thoughts. So many thoughts, like Cole. Anyway, let me know. Let me know. Hit me up if you are a Charmed fan so we can chat about it.
Here go babies. Here go babies. Yeah. You're good babies. Aww. Aww. No fighting. Mercury retrograde has bested me. It's Monday, January 2nd, and I got up and went to work today, only to find out that once I was like 3/4 of the way through the workday, I found out it's a holiday still. Like, I didn't have to go into work at all. So that happened. Tonight I'm going to be making Old Time Hawkey's macaroni and cheese recipe in the crock pot, and I'll try to link you to his reel down below that he does for it. I made it a couple weeks ago, and the recipe calls for condensed milk, and when I used the condensed milk, it just made the recipe like way too sweet for my taste. So I'm gonna try it again, and instead of using condensed milk, I'm gonna use heavy cream. So I'm gonna make that here tonight, and then keep reading Horrid by Katrina Little. I got to about page 80 yesterday, and I'm really liking it. It's definitely giving me those Poison Heart vibes, where the family moves into this abandoned old house on the East Coast, like very much the same as this Poison Heart, and some creepy things are happening at the house, and you don't really know if it is supernatural or if it's all in the narrator's head, or not the narrator's, but the main character's head. So we've got like an unreliable perspective potentially, because she's grieving the loss of her father. So she's wondering, like, am I just imagining these things happening as part of my grieving process? So far I am enjoying this. I'm enjoying the vibes. Definitely seeing some similarities with this Poison Heart. It's not quite as cottagecore as this Poison Heart. It's more gothic than this Poison Heart, but some overlap with that for sure. All right, I'm gonna make dinner.
Tuesday. I can't believe I took a minute. I had to figure out like what day it was. It's Tuesday. So yesterday I worked when I didn't have to. I already told you that. And then made that macaroni and cheese, which is a recipe by the TikToker Old Time Hawkey. I found him on Instagram. I don't have TikTok, but he shared his crock-pot macaroni and cheese recipe. I made some adjustments and made it again, and it was good. Like, it tasted good. But I don't know, something about that recipe just sits so heavy in my stomach. Like, I took like 3 bites and I was full. So I don't know if I'll continue making it, because yeah, like I said, it's very heavy. It's very rich, very heavy, and it tasted great. And then yesterday after dinner, dropping rings. I was going to try to hit this book really hard, Horrid, and get through a good chunk of it. And I did still get through a good chunk of it, but I also ended up watching the football game. My dad, who passed recently, his favorite football team was the Buffalo Bills, and he was going to, he had posted on Facebook, like, shortly before he passed about how he was excited to follow them this season. So I felt like, maybe I should watch the game for him. Goodness. So one of the players on the Buffalo Bills team got hit in the chest and went into cardiac arrest on the field. And like, it was like super traumatic, and then they canceled the game. Like, they didn't finish the game. They didn't even make it through the first quarter, and it was done. And it was like, it was awful. It was so awful. Like, I feel so bad for this kid. He's 24 years old and like has his whole life ahead of him, and then that happens, and I got kind of hooked on the story and like watching the coverage of it and all the conversations that were being had around it about how like we see athletes as just bodies for our entertainment, especially if they're black or brown athletes, and like how sports has to be about more than the game. It has to prioritize the well-being of the players, and like it was awful. Like, it was awful, and I got like kind of sucked into it. So I didn't get as much reading done as I wanted to, but I am on page 127, which is almost halfway through. And this is getting interesting. So the main character has anger issues. That's coming across loud and clear. And she tends to have these blackouts when she gets really, really mad. So it's an unreliable protagonist. I just love that. Like, I love stories with an unreliable narrator or an unreliable protagonist. I think it just adds such an interesting level of intrigue to this story. And all these creepy things keep happening. Like, creepy things happen with the rose bush at the house where, oh my gosh, birds. I do love them, but they are noisy little budgies. So there's a description on the back here that says Lino blends Agatha Christie and Shirley Jackson for a narrative that ranges from unsettling to genuinely terrifying. I have not read Shirley Jackson, but just from the vibes of her books, I could say that's a pretty accurate description of this book, like a blend of Agatha Christie and Shirley Jackson that ranges from unsettling to terrifying. That's the sense that I'm getting from this story. Some of it's just, it makes you question, and other parts is like genuinely scary and twisted. Nothing gruesome, like there's no gore or violence or anything like that. Like, the most violent thing has been somebody threw a brick through a window. But it's still unsettling. Like, there's just such a good creepy vibe to this story. And there hasn't been a whole lot even that has happened in the plot. Like, her and her mom moved to this house, and creepy things are happening in the house, and now she's got a job at a local bookstore / coffee cafe, and she's getting to know some of the kids in her school. One of the girls has like some sort of twisted backstory that's left her kind of messed up. And she's like really mean, and she, I don't know, is like abusive to her classmates and all of that. And we're being sort of led to believe that there's a connection between that character and the house that they're in, but we don't have any idea like what that connection is. People around town are like saying like weird cryptic things about the house and its backstory, and like, yeah, it's definitely a book that's mostly vibes rather than like plot, but I'm enjoying the vibes a lot. Like I really am liking this. I really am liking the gothic cottagecore vibes. That's how I would describe it. It's more gothic than cottagecore, like I said last night, but there is that hint of it in there with like the roses and the old house and the coffee shop. It's got that element of cozy in it, I guess. So that's where I'm at with that. That's where I'm at with the reading. Have the fireplace going, got done with barn chores, so now we're going to do a little bit of reading of Horrid. And I wanted to show you this candle that my little brother got me for Christmas. It is from Forever Wick, and it actually has a diamond in it. I'm guessing it is that little spot there. And the diamond can be any size. I guess it varies from candle to candle. And this is where we're at. It started about right here, burning the candle, and now we're down to here. So I'm just really excited to see what kind of bling is in this. So we're gonna go ahead and light the baby. Hello, happy Wednesday. I was able to get a good chunk of reading done last night. I read about 100 pages of Horrid, and I am still enjoying it. It isn't super quotable, but there was one, there are two spots that caught my attention in terms of quotable material, and they both have to do with grief. So the first is on page 134, and Jane is reflecting on her dad dying, and it says, and Jane had felt alone, really alone, and with the realization that you could never go back. Time marched forward. The figurine couldn't be unbroken, and now in the hallway, that same bitter truth. Jane couldn't unslam the locker door. They couldn't unmove to this terrible town. Greer couldn't undie. That was really good, in my opinion, and I liked the larger idea about time marching forward and how we can't undo the things that have happened. We just have to learn how to like make sense of them and deal with them, basically. And then the second quote wasn't so much a quote that stuck out to me because of the idea, but more so the language that was used. Is also about grief, and it's on page 209. And she says, why had Ruth reacted so bizarrely when Jane had seen the card? The change in her demeanor had been palpable, alarming. And here's the quote that I really liked. Was that what grief did after it had a chance to cool? I love that. Like, I love that imagery, and is that what grief does when it's had a chance to cool? Like, you know, grief at first is shocking, alarming, intense, but then as time goes on, it has a chance to cool. Like, I just thought that was really good. So those are two quotable moments from in here. In terms of like plot and other stuff, there was a character that died that I didn't see coming. I won't tell you who it is, obviously, no spoilers, but that surprised me. And then when they were talking about who it was, I thought it was one person and it ended up being a different person. So that's interesting. And really we're just continuing with this idea that, you know, Jane, the main character, is either quietly going insane and losing her mind and having hallucinations, or she's being terribly gaslit by somebody that's trying to make her think that she's like losing her mind and is terrorizing her. Or maybe it's something even supernatural. We still just don't know. So if I get through my 100 pages here today, I should be able to finish up this book. So that's where we're at. I I also wanted to share with you, I had been talking about how I was doing a rewatch of The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina on Netflix. And because I hadn't seen the final season, I finished the final season. And that show, in my opinion, went off the rails in the final season. Like, I very much prefer the first one to, is it 4 seasons long? I don't remember how many seasons it is. But I very much prefer the earlier seasons over the last seasons. I feel like the last one, like, the timing was just way off. The pacing was way off. The pacing, everything went by so fast. And, like, you just didn't even have a chance to absorb what had happened before you were moving on to, like, the next big thing. It was a lot. It was a lot really fast. And I don't know if maybe there was something that had happened behind the scenes where they had to push the timeline, you know, a little tighter or something like that. But I feel like it would have benefited from being stretched out a little bit longer into a couple of seasons instead of cramming all of that into one season. And then the very, very ending, if you have seen this show, let's chat about it. I don't know how I feel about how it ends. I don't know. It was not satisfying. It just wasn't. It wasn't. It left me wanting. So if you have seen The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina and you also have thoughts, please connect with me so we can talk about it. Happy Thursday. This week is going by really fast. I'm starting to get a little bit stressed out that I haven't read more. It's already day 5 of January, and I feel like I should have had at least 2 books read at this point. So I'm trying to just chill and not be too hard on myself, because I did finish Horrid last night, and I loved this book. It was really creepy right up until the end. I feel like it culminated into like a conclusion that was interesting and like definitely just all the creepy spooky vibes, and I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I guess the only thing that I would dock a star for is I kind of wanted a little bit more gore and a little bit more body horror in this. I feel like it could have, like, there were opportunities for some good body horror in it, but at the same time it says YA, so it was speaking to that particular audience. I feel like a lot of YA horror doesn't really go there with the gore, which is totally fine. It's just my personal preference that I do like my horror stories to have at least a little bit of gore. But this was spooky. It was interesting. The twist at the end, okay, that twist, if you know, you know, but the twist I did not see coming. I had a hunch about something, and the hunch was like fairly close to what the twist ended up being, but the twist still made my jaw drop. I was like, oh wow, that was a great twist. I really liked how this book ended. There's a little bit of an open ending, but you also do still get quite a few answers, and I just really enjoyed it. So I gave it 4 stars. Our book club discussion of it on Jan's channel is this Friday, so I'm really looking forward to attending that and talking with the other Full Moon Book Club members about it, because I do still have some questions about things that I'd really like to talk to other people about, which, you know, of course always makes for a good book club read. So I enjoyed my first read of 2023. I am about 21% of the way through Front Desk by Kelly Yang. And this is a middle grade contemporary. It's really just kind of a slice of life story about this young girl and her family who run a hotel. Frida has been extra talkative today. But it's about this girl and her family. Her family runs a hotel, and she works at the front desk a lot. And there's like a cast of characters of people who live at the hotel permanently, and guests that come and go. And it's just, yeah, it's a slice of life story that I'm so far enjoying that. Tonight I will pick up my next book club read. This is Motherthing by Ainsley Hogarth. This is about Laura, and Abby. So Abby is taking care of her sick mother-in-law and is hoping to reconnect with her. And she is working in a long-term residence and really connects with this person named Mrs. Bondi. And I guess spooky things happen, like Mrs. Bondi's daughter's threatening to move her from the care home. With everything on the line, Abby comes up with a chilling plan that will allow her to keep Mrs. Bondi, rescue Ralph from his tortured mind, and break Laura's hold on the family for good. I have never read from this author, and this is for the Midnight Society book club, which is run by Elizabeth at Reading Riley. It's a new book club, and I'm excited to be participating in it. So I'm going to start reading this tonight. I love this cover. It's kind of got like comic book vibes, and it also just reminds me of like the 1960s. Like this looks like an aspic that you made in the 1960s and 1970s. And like the makeup and stuff looks very 1960s to me. I really like the cover. So yeah, we'll start this tonight. Okay, another thing, I took some really cool footage last month of a snowstorm, and during the snowstorm there was this phenomenon called light pillars, which look really similar to the Northern Lights, but they're not the Northern Lights. So I am going to go ahead and share that footage with you in this vlog, even though it was from a month ago. One more quick note. I bought this. So this is a book that I read from my shelves. And in an Owl Crate box last year, I got this cool stamp that says like from the library of. So something I'm deciding to do this year is if I read a book from my shelves that I love and I'm going to keep, I'm going to stamp it with my book stamp. I just need to get a stamp pad for it. So this one will be getting stamped and staying in my library. Here's my stamp. It says from the library of. So yeah, I just need a stamp pad for it. I'm going to pick out a bookmark for Motherthing. This is the one I just used for Horrid. This was an Owl Crate bookmark. It is from probably the Daughter of Smoke and Bone series, because that looks like Kairu or whatever her name is.
And the holder that I keep my bookmarks in is also from Owl Crate. And it's like a tin shaped like a book. And just a note about my bookmarks are like scraps of life kind of things. So, like, for example, this was my hotel key holder for my trip to Chicago. So, like, they're like just little mementos mostly, and then some of them are like formalized bookmarks. And I just rotate through them, and then like every other one, I do like a fancy one, like one of these kinds of things. So with Horrid, I used a fancy one. So now we're on this. This is a bookmark from Compassion International, which is a nonprofit organization that I donate to. And I am a sponsor mommy of this little boy. His name is Jerome. So that will be the bookmark I use.
Hello vlog, it is Saturday. I haven't checked in a little bit because I haven't been feeling super great. But I am close to halfway through Motherthing and absolutely loving this. Oh my gosh. Her prose is stunning. It's like literary horror. It's so good. It's both like artistic and irreverent and has like such a sense of humor. Like, let me read you a couple of lines. So page 12. Winter never, oh, bird. Winter never lets you forget you're alive. Maybe that's why it makes people sad. And then another line. Ralph nods, careful not to make noise. It's unwise to stand out from quiet middle of the night dark, like how your body has to imitate water to stay alive in it. Arms and legs undulating with the waves to keep your head up and breathing. Like, it's stunning. It's stunning. There was a passage in here. Let me back up a minute. The story is that Ralph is married to Abby, and it's told from Abby's perspective. And Ralph's mom has borderline personality disorder, and she basically makes it his responsibility to take care of her emotionally and keep her alive. She's always threatening to kill herself, basically, to unalive herself. And she does that successfully. And so now they're going through the process of grief and grieving her passing and like dealing with the aftermath with things like figuring out the funeral services and writing the obituary and all of that. And Abby has stolen her ring. So while her mother-in-law was like bleeding out on the floor, she stole this opal ring from her hand, which I'm guessing is what that represents. So she stole this opal ring from her hand and buried it in the backyard. And now there's all this drama about where's her ring? She was never without that ring. And she's starting to feel like really guilty for stealing the ring. And then all these weird things are starting to happen in the house, and Ralph is behaving really, really strangely. Like, she catches him whispering to something down in the basement, and like he isn't showering and he isn't eating and he isn't going to work, and like keeps the curtains closed all the time. And now there's like these weird noises that they're hearing, and like the curtains are opening and closing on their own. So it's got like haunted house vibes, and like it's really, really good. It's really good. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to finish this today. And then I would also really like to finish Front Desk by Kelly Yang. I'm halfway through that, and that's going well too. So like my 2023 reading year is really kicking off nicely. These 3 books have been really good books. So with Front Desk, one of the characters that stays at the hotel permanently is accused of stealing a vehicle, and it's like this really racist situation. And then the main character, she has heard about an essay contest in Vermont where if you write an essay, you could win a hotel. And this actually has happened. Like, I've seen this happen in real life. There's a couple that's retiring and they want to sell the hotel, but they want to sell it to the right person. So they have this essay contest. So the main character wants to enter this essay contest, but she struggles with writing and with grammar, and English is her second language, and so she's dealing with a lot of like self-confidence issues and just a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff is covered in this story, a lot having to do with immigration, with racism, with Chinese culture, with exploitation of the workforce, basically exploiting immigrants for cheap labor, the struggles that an immigrant family has in the school system, friendship. Like, it really covers a lot of like powerful and important themes. So very much enjoying that. My plan for today is just to stay home. I've got some freelance work to do, some cleaning to do, and then hopefully I will finish both of these books today and be able to update you about them tomorrow and wrap up the vlog. Good morning. Hello, it is actually time to wrap up this vlog and start the next one. I didn't finish any books. I was not feeling great through the weekend, but I did get about halfway through Motherthing, a little over halfway through. And this is a really good book. Like, the prose is wonderful. Like, it's absolutely wonderful writing. It's a little bit slow here in the middle. I kind of wish more was happening, but it really is addressing some big ideas. It's heavy though, like it's really heavy, and it was sort of putting me in a bad headspace, so I picked up on my Kindle, oh my gosh, what was it? Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez, which is a contemporary romance, and I will talk more about that one in the next vlog. I did not finish Front Desk by Kelly Yang. I didn't finish this one, so sorry for kind of a slow, uneventful reading vlog here, but I do hope you enjoyed a little bit of a slice of life. If you just want to let me know you're here, go ahead and leave a dying rose emoji for Horrid. And until next time, make sure that you continue to read good books, drink good coffee, take care of yourselves and each other. Bye!